This is a 2-pack of USB-C rechargeable lithium-ion batteries in the C alkaline battery form factor. I was sent these to review for free. If you wanted to purchase them, they would cost you about $27. They haven't paid me for my review, and my opinion remains my own. So in the box, we get 2 of these C-cell sized battery units. And these are, they say Hixon, and they say 3,600 milliwatt hours. So that's basically 3.6 watt hours of capacity on the rating. And it's C-sized lithium-ion battery. The model is J1055. And it has a USB-C port here, and it includes here a USB-A to dual USB-C cables, so you can charge both of them at once off of a USB-A slot. That indicates to me that they probably don't take too much power. It says here 5 volts at 500 milliamps. So if you have a 1 amp USB-A outlet, it'll charge both of them at the same time. Now it says 3,600 milliwatt hours. I've actually seen some AA size batteries with that exact same rating. So it seems with the larger size they could get a larger capacity in here. Now these batteries here have a charging voltage of 5 volts, but the rated voltage is 1.5. So there's a little circuit in there that steps down the internal lithium ion voltage of about 3.7 down to 1.5. And so these guys will run any device that's expecting a 1.5 volt alkaline battery. So these basically will replace alkaline batteries. Now I'm specifically planning on using these with this flashlight. Very squeaky flashlight. So this flashlight normally uses alkaline C-cell batteries, and I'm going to be replacing them with these lithium-ion batteries. And the first thing to notice is that weight-wise, these guys are significantly lighter than a comparable alkaline battery because lithium-ion is lighter weight than alkaline chemistries. So a single battery cell here weighs in at 31 grams. If you compare that to a traditional alkaline battery at 66, these guys are about half the weight of a traditional alkaline battery. Now they fit anywhere a traditional alkaline battery would fit. And it's running my flashlight just like regular alkaline batteries. So I'm going to run this flashlight until basically it dies, and I'm going to basically discharge those cells by doing that. After we do that, we will charge them back up and see how much power they accept as they're charging, and that'll be a good estimate for the total capacity of the battery. Okay, I've discharged these batteries so far that the BMS has cut off the ends of the batteries from the internal cell. And so now we're going to plug in a USB-C plug and charge them back up, and we'll keep track of how many watt hours it takes to charge each one up. So I plugged this into a USB-C power delivery adapter, and it's only charging at the 5 volt level, and it's doing about 0.45 amps, so it is drawing about 2 watts. So pretty much any USB-C cable is going to be able to charge this guy up just fine. There's 3 little green LEDs that you can see here flashing around the edge of the battery. Presumably they're going to either stop flashing or go solid or turn off when it gets fully charged. So we're keeping track. Okay, this guy charged up overnight. The green lights in the front are now turned on solid green instead of flashing, and it took 6 watt hours to do that. So this is rated as a 3.6 watt hour battery, and it took almost twice that to charge it up. So either the charging circuitry is very inefficient, or its actual capacity might be slightly more than 3.6 watt hours. We are going to do the same thing with this battery here and see if it has a similar 6 watt hours to charge. So I've reset the watt hour timer and off it goes. Alright, this guy's been charging for about 3 hours. It's almost done. There's only 1.4 amps of current going in. That's like 0.5, 0.6 watts. And the total watt hours going in is 6 watt hours, which is very similar to what this guy was when it got done charging. So it looks like, 3 hours, it's probably 95% charged. It might go for a while at this low rate, just to top it up to get to the very top, but it's basically mostly done charging now. Okay, this battery is fully charged, and it also took 6 watt hours. And so what that means is that either the charging electronics are kind of pretty lossy, so it shouldn't take 6 watt hours to fill a 3.6 watt hour battery. Or maybe the writing on the outside of the battery is actually a little bit conservative, so maybe it's a 4 watt hour battery. But it certainly looks like it should be able to have at least 3.6 watt hours in the battery. Now it might be that it's able to provide 3.6 watt hours before it dies, and so that would be, with the losses from charging and losses from conversion down to 1.5 volts in the circuitry, I think that 3600 milliwatt hour rating is probably pretty accurate there. All right, so fully charged, this guy's producing 1.5 volts. There's a little bit of fluctuation, like 1.50, 1.49, 1.51. So I think it might be that the circuitry inside is at a slow mode, where it is kind of, pushing out 1.5 volts, turning off, and there's like a capacitor, and then it turns back on and checks the voltage and bumps it back up to 1.5 volts. So it does kind of run the circuit that's in there continuously to make that 1.5 volt output. So shelf life wise, these guys may not last years and years just sitting on the shelf. I think they're designed to be charged and then used after charging. My flashlight has this replacement LED bulb. When I'm driving this light bulb at 3 volts, the draw is about 0.83 to 0.9 amps. So this bulb has about a 2.7 watt draw. Together, these guys have 7.2 watt hours of power. For these guys to meet their specification, that flashlight has to run for at least 2.6 hours, and if it runs longer than 2.6 hours, they're exceeding their specifications. Alright, I started this guy at 9:39 a.m. We have the time-lapse camera watching, and we will see. Alright, all the way off. Okay, we charged these guys right back up, and they again took 6 watt hours to recharge. So these batteries meet or exceed this 3.6 watt hour specification. They're rechargeable lithium-ion batteries, so you can use them multiple times. Now, if you compare this just to a generic alkaline battery, the alkaline batteries weigh about twice as much. They have about the same capacity, about 3.4 to 4 watt hours. So you're not getting a longer runtime than an alkaline battery, but you're getting equivalent runtime, and you get to reuse them as many times as you want. Now, alkaline batteries will have an advantage in shelf life because you can buy alkaline batteries that, as long as you're not actually using them, will stay stable for 5 or 10 years. These guys have an active circuit inside. It's making 1.5 volts out of the 3.7 volts in the lithium-ion battery. And so they will run themselves down with a self-discharge even if they're not being used. So if you're going to charge these up and then use them in your flashlight or whatever device you're using them in, great. Don't expect them to stay charged on the shelf unattended. You'll need to keep them charged up every so often if you want them to be ready to go at any point in time.